Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites for you to understand, and then we read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright issues, and all art is owned by the respective companies. So, if you remember way back a few months ago, we did Avengers Disassembled. At the end of that story, Scott Lang, Vision, and Hawkeye were all killed seemingly by Scarlet Witch having a mental break. After they realized that it was her who had created this massive illusion, Magneto took her away before the Avengers or the X-Men could do anything to her. But where did she go? Magneto brought her to the one person that he felt could actually help her fix her mind, Professor Xavier. But not even he could fix this. Her mind is so shattered that every time that her mind begins to drift off, she alters the very world that we live in. She brings Vision back to life. She brings her father and her brother at her side. She even brings back to life her two children that never existed, ever. Professor Xavier has to step in every time and he yells at her, "Put the world back the way it was, Wanda, put it back now." And every time, she breaks down into tears, unable to cope with everything that's happened. Realizing that there's nothing that he can do to fix this for her ultimately, Professor X calls the remaining Avengers and the X-Men together. They need to remove the problem that is the Scarlet Witch. She can't be helped. She needs to be killed to prevent her from altering the entire universe once again. Meanwhile, back at Genosha, Quicksilver is at his sister's bedside as Magneto walks in. "They're gonna kill her," he says to his father Magneto. And Magneto looks to the ground and he just simply says, "Maybe they're right." Quicksilver looks shocked and he just says, "They're going to kill her!" And Magneto grabs him and he sternly says, "What would you have me do?" Quicksilver just falls to his knees in tears for his sister. They're going to kill his sister. The Avengers and the X-Men debate what they should do. Should they do it? But in the end, they decide that they can't risk her losing her mind again. And Professor X thinks that it's best. They're going to do it. And the whole group flies to Genosha, the former city of the mutants. But once they get there, they can't find Scarlet Witch. Before anyone can even look, there's a flash of light. And no one will remember anything as the world changes forever. Wolverine wakes up in bed next to his lover, Mystique. He quickly jumps out of bed in surprise. What's going on? As he runs outside, he realizes that he's on the SHIELD helicarrier as it flies the flag of M on it and has Sentinels flying alongside it. He quickly realizes that something isn't right, and he turns to Mystique asking her what did they do yesterday. She just looks at him confused and she tells him the mission was a success. The only casualties were some human grunts. And he asks, what about Genosha? What happened on Genosha? But she looks even more confused and simply says, did something happen to Lord Magus that I need to know about? Wolverine quickly double takes, Lord Magus? Magneto? And he simply jumps off the helicarrier. Once he hits the street and heals enough to walk, he grabs a newspaper to see what the heck is going on. Everything is so wrong. Superheroes are pop culture icons. Magneto is holding a gala for Storm. Namor is going to attend said gala. The next page gets even worse as there's paparazzi pictures of Peter Parker with his son Richie. Lord Kevin Plunder is an animal rights activist. And the weirdest part is that Tony Stark, Allison Blair, Ralph Macchio, Jason Wingard, and Warren Worthington III are all on a Who's Hottest list. While all of this is confusing, one thing is certain looking through this paper. The mutants are the dominant race and the humans are now the minority, the opposite of the normal world. With his confusion getting even worse, Wolverine steals a motorcycle and he rides off into the streets to get his answers. And he rides to the Xavier mansion, only to find it empty. He then goes to Stark Tower to try and find Tony, but he finds him not in the city. But before he can go anywhere else to seek help, the SHIELD agents that he ducked out on finally find him and they tell him that he needs to be brought back in because they kind of want to know why he's acting so weird. Agents Rogue, Toad, Nightcrawler, Jessica Drew, and Mystique. Okay, this world is all kinds of messed up. He quickly starts fighting them by knocking out Jessica Drew and dodging Nightcrawler's teleports. Wolverine then makes his way to his motorcycle where he takes off into the streets. But before he can do anything else, Cloak appears in front of him and he teleports him away to an underground location with Luke Cage and a seemingly now alive Hawkeye who shoots Wolverine in the head. Hawkeye can't be too careful with mutants anymore. But this is Wolverine, so he just heals, stands up and tells them, "You guys should have removed the tracker before bringing me down here." And just then, the ceiling explodes as Sentinels have found their targets. But before they can actually kill anyone, Cloak uses the power of his teleporting cloak and gets whoever he can grab out of there. He wasn't able to save everyone though, as they watch from the distance as members of their resistance are killed. Well, with everyone standing there confused as to what's going on, Luke Cage asks Wolverine to explain, because Wolverine has figured it all out. He explains that this world is wrong, it's backwards and flipped sideways. In the right world, the humans are in charge and the mutants are the minority. Magneto is a villain, and the humans are a group known as the Avengers, and the mutants are a group known as the X-Men. They went to stop a woman known as Wanda Maximoff, or Scarlet Witch as she's better known, and she has so much power that she was able to alter the entire universe to be as she saw fit. This has to be another one of her tricks, and Hawkeye's dead in that universe, killed by the witch months ago. He also explains that he remembers all of this because he's been mind-wiped so many times that his brain can heal his memories to an extent. He also knows why this happened. Seeing how everyone is living their lives, he realizes that Magneto had Scarlet Witch change the world so that everyone would have their greatest wishes granted. And Luke Cage looks at Wolverine and he says, "I believe you. That little girl over there showed up yesterday saying all of the same things." And he walks over to find out that this girl is named Delilah. But other than knowing how the world is supposed to be, she has no idea why she knows this. Well, this is a mystery that will have to be resolved another time, and Wolverine says that they need to start building a group to face off with the Scarlet Witch. So they use Cloak's teleporting cloak to get around the world and find the proper people. The first stop is to the apartment of Cyclops and Emma Frost, who are married and happy in this world. But before Wolverine can explain who they are, Emma Frost returns home and sees Wolverine saying, "Hi, Ems," and freezes them all in place, locking up their minds. Well, it's a good thing that she can read minds, because before she can call the cops, she gets a brief glimpse into Wolverine's head, and then she sees everything. She sees how the world is supposed to be. She gets sick to her stomach and she says, "Lord Magus, Magneto is gonna die." After learning about everything that's going on, Emma Frost hops into Layla's mind to discover what her secret is, and that she's a conundrum. She has psychic powers, but they're not psychic. And long story short, she's able to unlock people's memories of the real world. She's the key to saving this universe. Once they realize this, things begin to move quickly after this. It's time to unlock people's thoughts, and they start with Cyclops, Emma Frost's husband in this reality. He vomits at the idea that this isn't his reality. Next up, they find Peter Parker, a celebrity in this reality who's married to Gwen Stacy, and has Uncle Ben alive at his side in this reality. Once he realizes what his real life is like, he just breaks down into tears. Things move even faster after this as they recruit Kitty Pryde, Doctor Strange, Miss Marvel, Tony Stark, Daredevil, and She-Hulk. But there's one person who they wanted to recruit, but they can't. Captain America is almost 100 in this reality. His greatest wish was to never be frozen. After that, they switch Rogue, Toad, Mystique, Jessica Drew, and Nightcrawler to their side from S.H.I.E.L.D., and they're ready to go. The team is ready to kill Scarlet Witch. It's too bad they can't get Professor X's help, but one man does know where he is, and in this reality, he's dead. The heroes can't decide what to do. I mean, should they reset reality? Everyone has what they want. There's no war, there's no heartache. The mutants aren't fighting to stay alive anymore. But in the end, they decide, regardless of how awesome this reality is for everyone, it's not their reality. They need to fix things. Lord Magus and his House of Magus all sit around their gala welcoming the likes of Princess Aurora, Doctor Doom, and Prince Namor to their party. When a broken Sentinel comes crashing into the party, this new Avengers team all jump down into the party, ready to fight to the death to restore their proper reality. This perversion will stop. Heroes are falling, former heroes are falling, villains are standing triumphant. Where is Scarlet Witch? How will this actually end? Well, Doctor Strange would also like to know how this is going to end, and he goes up to the tower that has Scarlet Witch hiding in there with her 2 children. The 2 children that she created from nothing way back when. The 2 children that she lost and then lost her sanity because of their loss. The 2 children that she would do anything to have back. Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch exchange pleasantries as he asks her, how did this happen? And she explains, it wasn't her father. Magneto had nothing to do with this. It was her brother, Quicksilver. Back when Magneto yelled at Quicksilver, "What would you have me do?" Magneto left the room, and Quicksilver went to his sister. They've always been shunned. Their father never tried to save them. They've only ever had each other. And he can't lose his sister. He can't lose her to anything. So he suggested that she give everyone their wishes so that they would hopefully leave the 2 of them alone finally. Doctor Strange just looks in shock. It wasn't Magneto's fault. But before they can use Scarlet Witch to fix this, she takes an arrow into the back. And she looks up to see Clint Barton, Hawkeye, the one that she killed in the Avengers Disassembled event, looking down at her. "Why did you do that, Clint?" she asks as she makes the arrow vanish into thin air. And he looks at her and screams, "You ask me why? You dare ask me why I would kill you?" And she simply makes him disappear. She then falls to her knees in tears. I can't control any of it. Back on the ground, Quicksilver goes to town, running faster than ever before to defeat this Avengers team as quickly as he can, only to be stopped by a very angry Magneto. "What have you done in my name, boy?" Magneto demands to know. "You were gonna let her die," Quicksilver shouts back. "You used us all," Magneto says to his son, as he throws everything that he has to kill Quicksilver. But Scarlet Witch arrives and shouts, "No!" She goes down and she holds her brother's broken body in her arms. And everyone just watches, too scared to move. In the blink of an eye, she could wipe out all of existence. Wanda looks up at her father and she yells at him. "We're not the next step. We're not gods, Father. We're freaks. Look at us, Daddy. We're freaks. Mutants." "Daddy, no more mutants." And in a blink of an eye, all reality changes once again. The sun rises on a new day. Peter Parker wakes up to a certain redhead, Mary Jane. But he sadly just gets out of bed and walks to the bathroom, as he remembers that entire previous life, Gwen, Uncle Ben, and even his son. Everyone remembers those better lives, those worlds where they had everything that they finally wanted. Everything seems to be back to normal. But a beaten Doctor Strange walks into the room and says, "Not quite. The mutants have been decimated. Most of them have lost their powers. What was once a world of millions of mutants is now barely a world of thousands. Professor X is also still missing and presumed dead, and Wolverine has all of his life memories back, everything from the day he was born. And Hawkeye is apparently back, but he's missing. The few remaining X-Men with powers quickly track down a powerless Magneto to ask him, where is the Scarlet Witch? She has to fix this." But he doesn't know. No one knows. This problem isn't going to be fixed. This is now the state of the Marvel Universe. The Avengers all sit around a table, debating if they should help. Should they step in and do something for their mutant brothers? And they decide to stay out of it. They decide this isn't their business. I'm Benny for Comic Storian, and make sure you follow us on Twitter @ComicStorian. I know it took us a while to get to this story, but you guys can go ahead and blame Rob for Marvel Explained. He wanted me to wait on this one, but it's done, and now we're going to move to Civil War in a couple of weeks. I'll see you guys next time right here at the channel.